Hi there everyone, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you so much for joining me today for the Stamp Around UK video hop. Our theme is a colour theme to use 3 neutrals and a bright. Okay, so everyone in the hop today is going to be using that as their guide for their project. And if you click in the description bar, so click on that little down arrow or wherever it is on the device you're watching this tutorial on, have a look there. There'll be a whole bunch of links to my other friends and crafty companions and their videos for you to look at too. So hopefully you'll be inspired. Just pop that light on, there we go. That's probably a little bit better. So I'm going to be using Kite Delight, which is one of the stamp sets in the January mini catalogue. Just love this, and as soon as I saw it I thought, oh, that's going to be one that I'm going to enjoy using. Now personally I'm a big Mary Poppins fan, so as soon as I saw this I thought of her. So Let's Go Fly a Kite should so be a sentiment in here, but there you go. There's probably copyright rules on it or something. Anyway, brilliant set to have a little bit of fun with. And that's what I'm using today, photopolymer, so it's good. You see through it, and this is my card layout. We're going to mix up the colours again for the sample. So my 3 neutrals are Early Espresso, which I've actually used for the sentiment and the stamped outline. We have Crumb Cake, and we have Night of Navy. That is the layer there. Probably looks a bit dark on the camera, but it is actually Night of Navy, which is just a little bit of a change to just using the black, which technically isn't a neutral really, according to the Stampin' Up colour family anyway. And then the bright I've chosen was Melon Mumbo, so that's what I've coloured the kite and the tails there in with the Stampin' Blends markers. So we're going to change up the colours and go with greys in that neutrals family. So I'm going to go with a smoky slate card base. I'm going to stick with the layers as I have done there, because the Night of Navy really is a fantastic neutral that will go with either side of that palette. So if you want to go with the brown tones, it tones in. If you want to go with the grey tones, it tones in. So that's really cool. So my layers are 3 1/4 by 5. Then we've got 3 1/8 by 4 7/8, and then this last one is 3 by 4 3/4. So we've got those layers on there, and of course we've got a bit of scrap to do our stamping on. Okay, so that's what we've got. So we don't need any of that just for the time being. We just need to make our kite and our tails. So those are all the neutrals. So the bright I'm picking is Bermuda Bay. Okay, so Melon Mumbo and Bermuda Bay are my 2 favourite brights. So it was a no-brainer to pick those, and it was just a case of which neutrals to go with them. So I've pulled out my Bermuda Bay Stampin' Blends. Now, on the original sample, I stamped my outline in the one of the neutral colours. I think I've over-inked that slightly, so I'm just going to I re-inked the memento, so I just want to make sure that that's not going to go all blobby. I use the Early Espresso. When I tried to do a similar thing with basic grey, was what I chose to try and contrast this with. It didn't really work so well, so I'm cheating a little bit by bringing in some memento just for my outline image. Okay, on there. So that'll need to dry, and we need to do our tails as well, so they'll just fit on this. This is just a scrap of basic white that I had handy. Okay, now I am going to be fussy cutting this and the tail. I know, bonkers, right? Fussy cutting isn't generally my bag. but I decided to have a go with this because I wanted the dimension on it. If you really don't want to do it, I'll offer you up a solution to that when we get there. So no heroic colouring here at all. I'm going to go with the light marker and drop in some colour on these stripes on this kite from the sort of outer edge in. So this is not a colouring masterclass of in any way, shape or form really. So I'm just going to drop that in, and then we're just going to bring in some dark from the centre outwards. And these particular stamping blends, the difference between the light and the dark isn't that apparent really, but it's just enough to give it a bit of lift. No pun intended. Okay, and we can just go over those spots as well, and if you're feeling particularly lazy, just go over the whole lot with your marker and not go the individual spots, you know, just scribble over the top, which is fine if your stamping is nice and solid. If it's a bit patchy, it might show a little bit, but you may not mind, so it's up to you entirely whether you want to do that or not. So and of course these could be all sorts of colours basically. Really go to town colouring these in. Could also use the Stampin' Up markers because these don't need to be blended in any way. In fact, the whole image doesn't really need to be blended, does it? I just thought it'd be fun to just add a little bit of that to it. So you could go all sort of, you know, funny polka dots. You could stamp it on designer syrup paper. This is the light marker again. Just going to go again around the edges of these little bows on the tail here. Or you could, of course, just use the memento onto some of the coloured cardstock, and then the background would be coloured, and then you just go over the top. I do find that if you're stamping directly onto coloured cardstock, I was wandering off over here, wasn't I? Sorry. The image doesn't always stamp as crisply, just because it's not pressed as smooth as the basic white. But if you use a Stamparatus or another stamp positioning tool, that will give you the opportunity to stamp it a couple of times and make sure you get a really nice image. Okay, so oops, let's put the lid on that properly, shall we, so it doesn't dry out. That would be devastating. So like I say, it's not heroic colouring by any stretch of the imagination. We just wanted to apply some colour to that, and we're just going to cut this out. So the kite itself is nice and easy because it's straight lines, so no bother there. We can just lock that out quite quickly. As I say, I'm not really one for doing a lot of fussy cutting, generally speaking, but you know, a nice straight-sided shape like this isn't too challenging. I do know that some people would attempt to do this on a trimmer as well, so if that's something you'd feel like you want to try and do, then that's cool. Now the tails, right, yeah, bit more fussy really, to be honest. So what I ended up doing was cutting off as much of the excess as possible first, by going around the sort of the edge here, just like that. And then same sort of, let's just turn it around, so I can't see where I'm going with my hand in the way. So getting as close as I can to leave my sort of little border. And then what I did was I snipped in alongside the little bows there, and then cut out the centre portion. So if you're careful, these Stampin' Up paper snips are really super sharp all the way to the point, so you should be able to get in there quite easily. Oh, is the camera focusing? Don't know why that's not focusing. There we are. So you know, it's going to take a little bit of patience, but like I say, when we start putting it together, I'll offer you a solution to that. In that you'd just stamp it on your card, really, to be honest, and just not bother layering it up, which would probably look just as fine and dandy. I just thought, well, I just felt like I wanted to have some extra dimension on this particular project. Okay, so just snipping into those first. Snips are sharp all the way to the point, which is really helpful for these little tiny spaces. Just round this tail. The end of this is going to be underneath the kite, so it's not going to matter too much if that's a little bit on the rough side. Okay, so we just keep whizzing around that. She says whizzing. That's hardly whizzing, is it? We're being careful, aren't we? But I say it won't take a million years, but it's just a little bit on the delicate side. Now if you hear anything go crashing in a minute, it's because I have left my door ajar on my craft room, and my kittens have just walked into here. They've just woken up and they've gone, "Where are you?" and they found me hiding in here, and they have snuck in. So if anything goes kabang, it's them having a nosy in here, because I don't usually let them in, really, just because there's so much stuff. I just don't want them getting stuck in anything. So they are how old are they? 10 weeks old. No, 11. This is our 3rd week with them. Very well behaved, considering they're kittens, of course. You know, they get into all sorts of mischief, don't they, kittens? But generally speaking, they've been very, very good. Settled in beautifully. Okay, so it didn't take too long to get those done. Let's get rid of all this rubbish. And all we need to do now is put things together. So applying this to the card, I'm just going to use some mini dimensionals. So I've just plonked 3 on the back of that, and on the tails they just about fit on behind these little bows. Okay, or you could cut down some like foam strip or something like that. So they're ready to go on. Just need to stamp our sentiment onto the panel. So I'm just going to bring in my trusty it's my experimentation pad, it almost feels like. I've already got my stamp for my sentiment on the block, and we're going to bring in the 3rd neutral with the basic grey for this. Get that inked, and just going to, I've already made sure it's straight on the block, and the font on this is a little bit, it's not like totally straight, so you've got a little bit of forgiveness on there, so I want to stamp that about there. Nice firm pressure, lift up, beautiful, like so. And then we just need to get those layered up. Get your borders nice and straight. so, and then we can put that onto the card base. So I'm just using Stamp and Seal. The dimension is going to come on. Oh, I thought that was ink then. Oh, that would have been a disaster, wouldn't it? I'd have just had to have made the, from a moment I thought the sentiment was upside down, but it's not, it's fine. God. Right. That's going on there. So Stamp and Seal, nice, quick, easy. I'm not lifting up any of the layers because the dimension is going to come through with my little toppers here. So get the backings off this, and if you're anything like unsure where you're going to put that, we're going to just, oh, that didn't stick very well. I must have not pressed it very hard. Oh, that one. Gosh, it's been really gentle. Yeah. I think I was just user error. So if you're unsure exactly where it's going to go, oh, I knew that was going to happen at some point. This is a new glue, and it was coming out all stringy, and I was like, at some point that's going to go, and that was the moment. Fortunately, it's not gone in an awkward place. So putting the spots of glue on the dimensional just allows you to be able to position your items and have a little bit of wiggle room. So I know roughly where they want to go, but just getting that positioning just right, you know. And I quite like, as you'll have seen if you followed my videos at all, quite like breaking the borders on the layers. I just think it helps with the you know, just drawing the eye into the design a little bit. It doesn't have to be by much, so it's literally just peeking out over the edges there, and then when you're happy, if you just press that down, so you've got the dimension and then the strength of that wet glue behind it too. So I'm leaving it really, really super simple. So no extra embellishments are going on to that at all. I'm just going to leave it as it is, clean and simple. That's my original sample. Okay, so, you know, up to you which one you like the best. I'd love to know which one you like, or what colours you would choose. I mean, there's a whole, there's 10 colours in each of the families, so there's loads of scope for messing around with that. But I hope you've enjoyed the idea and the presentation of this particular stamp set, which is called Kite Delight. Okay. Don't forget to stop by all the other videos, click on that description there, and have a look through those. They'd all appreciate likes, subscribes and comments. Yeah, so hopefully we'll see you back here again next month for another Stamp Around UK video hop. In the meantime, take care, stay safe out there, and I'll see you soon. Bye!